Charlie Murder is the latest title from Ska Studios and James Silva, best known for Dishwasher Dead Samurai and I Made a Game with Zombies in it. The Xbox Live Arcade hasn't exactly lacked great beat-em-ups, but this punk rock inspired brawler is hoping to crank this year's Summer of Arcade up to 11. So what's the verdict on Charlie Murder? Let's find out. You can't really expect much of a plot to a beat-em-up, and Charlie Murder is no different. You're in a punk rock band of the game's namesake, who's in a rivalry with a death metal band, Gore Coiffer. Then you beat dudes up. It's a literal battle of the bands. The presentation goes a long way to sell the punk rock vibe. It'll be familiar to Ska Studios' other works, and it's as inspired as ever. The game is dark and grim, but at the same time silly and humorous. It just knows how to have a good time, whether you're riding a broomstick and shooting enemies with a handgun, or blowing up sharks strapped to dynamite. You might be surprised that there's not actually a lot of punk rock in the soundtrack, but it always ends up being fitting for the game's comical tone. There's even a radio show to listen to when you're in shops.
We've asked our listeners to call in and enlighten us with their always colorful opinions. Mark, you're on the air with Grok Rock. Mark, what do you think?
So I was sitting in a coffee shop and there
So can you tell?
Charlie Murder is a competent beat-em-up that won't immediately seem distinct when you start playing. As you progress, however, the RPG systems and loot collecting can really suck you in. These features do more than just make you want to keep playing. It further sells the quality of the presentation. You don't level up by gaining XP, but followers through your knockoff Twitter page that you can access through your phone. You can even check out what people are saying about you on this site, which I find simultaneously lame and totally clever. All of your loot, even if it's just a bunch of t-shirts and beanies instead of battle armor, help add to the game's vibe. Your character will really look like he or she wants nothing more than to get up on stage and fight the establishment. There's also a simple magic system called Anarchy that lets you unlock abilities as you purchase tattoos. These powers range from health buffs to the ability to summon a demon. The beat-em-up gameplay does have some flaws. Most notably, there's a lack of control or rumble. It makes the loud and abrasive punk rock combat feel a bit muted. Between the RPG elements and loot collecting, this is one of the deepest beat-em-ups around, but the actual act of beating dudes up sometimes feels shallow. Luckily, Anarchy, weapon pickups, and the act of throwing enemies into hazards are all quite entertaining. The gameplay at times feels like a grind, but when you have a game that can last over 5 hours and includes New Game Plus and co-op, Charlie Murder isn't exactly lacking content. Charlie Murder is a fine addition to the Xbox Live Arcade's collection of beat-em-ups. The gameplay could have felt a bit beefier, but the loot grind and fun art direction kept me going, and you may end up feeling like part of a band with friends. It may not always be total anarchy, but if you've liked XBLA beat-em-ups like Castle Crashers or Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, it's worth a look, especially for aspiring punk rockers.